Hello everyone, good morning, welcome back. It's another stream today, and yeah, let's see. Okay, let's see what today got for us. Okay, let's see what's gonna happen. It's been a lot of interesting stories across the world, and I know that we've been talking about what's been happening now in Nigeria with respect to the PDP. Various stuff. There was a video that was trending yesterday about how Tinubu did what's it called again? Praise WIKE as one of the performing minister, and I was surprised that video trended because that didn't even make sense. That interview was given months ago. So how come it's trending now when WIKE is in serious trouble? We've listened to so many things that happened at the PDP headquarters and all that. And that's Nigerian news. But I don't know if you're following global events and the news across the United States of America. What's been happening with Majority Taylor Greene and how the Democrats also have been trying to use the EPSTEIN documents and files to derail the Trump administration. Again, the handling of that has been a little bit below expectation, but finally Trump is out saying that, you know what, release everything. And then we also saw what happens with Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj spoke about the violence in Nigeria. Wow. First it was Bill Maher, and now we have Nicki Minaj talking about it. So I'm going to start with the Epstein file because that's what is really in vogue right now. And I want to just talk about it a little bit. Like I said, I'm going to be moving to other news stories, other stuff happening around the world and not just Nigeria. Because that's what it is. Everything is now connected. We're in a global village. So let me just start with this.
Why should Americans trust you and House Democrats on the Jeffrey Epstein files when one of your own, Congresswoman Plaskett, was found to be texting with Jeffrey Epstein during a hearing, getting information from him, using that in her questioning during a congressional hearing, and at one point he tells her, good job.
So that's a Democrat walking hand in hand with Jeffrey Epstein, despite the fact that they knew that it was a predator, despite the fact that he was being arrested, despite the fact that he was in prison at the time. All this whole stuff about Jeffrey Epstein has just been one other thing that the Democrat has done over and over again to catch Trump. Because they never cared about these victims until now. And the question you ask yourself is, why now? Why care now about that?
This is a bipartisan effort to make sure that, consistent with what the survivors have requested, that there's full and complete transparency, and every single predator who may be in those Justice Department files doesn't escape accountability. Thanks.
Okay.
Senator, on that note, just I guess a question that's out there. Why wouldn't they have been released the last 4 years when President Biden was in office?
Good
Well, that's
question.
the question every American is asking. Not every American, but so many Americans are asking. What the hell is he hiding?
No, that
Why
was
is-
not the asked you. That was not what was asked. The question was that you guys were in office the last 4 years prior to 2025. Nobody gave a rat about what happened to the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. So what changed? Because the victims didn't change. They've been requesting for justice ever since. So what changed? Why the sudden noise? We want to see the Epstein file. We want to see the Epstein file. Release the Epstein file. Yeah. The only time that Epstein has been held accountable before he died was when Trump was the president. That was when he was in prison. And when he died, for the 4 years of Biden, nobody was talking about the victims. Now Trump is back, and you guys are trying to actually, rope him into that, which the only victim that has been identified said, you know what, Trump didn't have anything to do with anything. And it is what it is. So now the question is not this, is not answering the question. Typical politician.
When you don't want something like this released, when even a whole lot of Republicans are calling for the release, his own party members, people ask the question, what's he hiding?
No.
It's got to be answered by releasing the files. Okay?
There'll be a veto.
Boy.
So I'm gonna move on.
We gotta, once again, it's really reckless to claim that there's any evidence whatsoever that the president was involved in any type of crimes with Jeffrey Epstein.
You don't care that the president might be a pedophile? You don't care that the
pedophile.
You don't
no evidence.
You see what? You see the framing there?
But that's what, no, it's not insane. That's what we've been talking about all week.
There is no evidence
You see the framing there? And that's what they do.
of
That's
that.
what
We are not going to.
no, but that's what the emails have been talking about. That's what we've been talking about all week. That's why he doesn't want to release the files. And to say that nobody cares is kind of absurd. If the president is a pedophile, we should know about it, and people would care about that.
Right. No one is suggesting that President Trump is a pedophile.
Capital. I want to be extremely clear and make it clear to our viewers that the president has not been accused of any wrongdoing in these emails or throughout this process. A large portion of them came before he was even in office. But it is notable that their relationship comes up again and again in these emails. Do you have questions for the president about their relationship? Does it make you at all curious about it?
Well, here's what else Jeffrey Epstein wrote. He wrote several text messages to Congresswoman Plaskett while she was sitting on the Oversight Committee in an oversight hearing about Jeffrey Epstein, and she was asking him what questions to ask Michael Cohen.
Yeah, so we're not learning that.
So what has happened there is the fact that this guy who was arrested and accused of all the wrongdoings in the book with respect to pedophilia stuff and all that was in prison and was still coordinating with somewhat Democrats, which we're even going to get into later, on how to get Trump. So obviously he was an enemy of Trump. Trump didn't ban him from his Mar-a-Lago residence a few years ago. But the Democrats want us to believe that Trump is the only bad guy in this scenario. Maybe Trump might have been guilty of association, but apparently there's been nothing nailing him as of today. As of today, something might change tomorrow, but as of today, nothing.
The president of the United States is a pedophile, right? That's not what we're learning. In fact, what we're learning from these document releases is that Jeffrey Epstein, just like Democrats, hated Trump. And Democrats and Jeffrey Epstein actually have a lot in common, okay? Because while President Trump was distancing himself from Epstein after learning of Epstein recruiting girls from his estate to do creepy stuff that he didn't want to be involved in, as Trump was like, nah, I'm good on that, right? I don't want to be involved in that type of stuff. Get away from me, right? As Trump was doing that, Democrats were embracing Jeffrey Epstein, right? Like, for example, we already talked about Stacey Plackett, the delegate from the Virgin Islands, okay? She apparently was texting with Jeffrey Epstein during a hearing about Trump, and Epstein was telling her what questions to ask.
My House Resolution 888, censoring and condemning Delegate Stacey Plaskett and removing her from the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence for conduct that reflects the discredibility on the House of Representatives for colluding with convicted felon and offender Jeffrey Epstein during a congressional hearing.
Now it's really blowing in the face of the Democrat right now. Like big time. Big time. Big time. It's so crazy that, you know what? At the end of the day, these guys, all they know about is politics. Okay, it's everywhere. It's the same thing everywhere. And that would also tie to what I'm going to talk about later with respect to Nigeria and all that. So, Jeffrey Epstein was in jail. The Democrats were planning to get Trump. And because Jeffrey Epstein definitely was a friend of Trump and an associate of Trump, right before he was banned from Mar-a-Lago, that was where Trump lives, and the country club that was out there, he was actually colluding with them while as a felon on asking her the questions that she should be asking the guy that was called in to witness before the House committee. And this happened After.
Whereas Stacey Plaskett, the delegate representing the United States Virgin Islands in the House of Representatives, inappropriately coordinated in real time with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein in a congressional hearing in February of 2019.
Okay.
Whereas Delegate Plaskett was actively coached by Epstein during the hearing, receiving instructions on specific lines of questioning, and was congratulated after the message by Mr. Epstein. Good work.
Good work, right? So this is the felon guy. This is the guy under investigation. This is the guy in prison talking to a Democrat about what question to ask so as to get Trump. I mean, it's just messed up. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. I don't even know what to say. So now they're trying to censure her. Apparently that failed. I'm gonna see if we can get into that, but it is what it is. It is what it is.
Whereas Jeffrey Epstein, the Speaker of the House, is not in order.
The gentleman is recognized.
And I rise in opposition to this resolution. We're here today on the floor to support the complete disclosure of information related to Jeffrey Epstein and his billion-dollar international child sex trafficking ring. And our side of the aisle at least supports the release of information relating to anybody who had anything to do with it, whether they're a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, or what have you, period. We insist on complete, full disclosure. This resolution has nothing to do with that. This seems to me to be one more pathetic effort to distract and divert attention from the fact that the president's name appeared more than 1,000 times already in the small fraction of material released on Epstein, and from the failure of the majority to move to disclose this information.
Having email exchanges does not mean that they did something
like
criminal.
Larry Summers.
Okay, but I do.
Or Stacey Plaskett.
Yes.
The fact that they're having exchanges
exactly.
with Epstein.
That may not be criminal. I do think it is wrong. I mean, people like Deepak Chopra.
Does that
apply?
Does your concern apply to Stacey Plaskett?
Absolutely.
It applies to that. Did you just hear me?
Across the board.
Did you just hear me say?
She should resign.
There you go again. There you go again, trying to make this into a Democrat.
I think it's very.
She was.
Now the stuff is blowing off in their faces, and now they're like, oh, no, it's not like that. Okay, fine. So what is it? What is it, bro? I don't know. And it's quite unfortunate. That's the reality. You guys would cry and call for something or accuse people for something that you are equally, even worse, guilty of. And that's politics for you.
But Scott, it's very hypocritical for you to. It's very hypocritical for you to call out the names of only the Democrats, but not apply the very same logic to everyone.
What Republican was he programming?
Listen, hold on.
Exactly.
You're basically saying if you're named in these documents, I guess you're.
No,
saying
that's
that
not what he's saying. That's not what he's saying. Again, here goes what's his name again? Abiy, whatever. He's not saying that if your name appears in the document, Elon Musk's name is also in the documents. But the fact was that Elon Musk never met with the guy. That's not what he's saying. What he's saying is this. This guy was already seen as a convicted felon. Okay? And then a congresswoman was actually coordinating with her to question a witness. That's the fact. I mean, you cannot just twist this thing in a way that favors you. And that's a good line of question by Scott Jennings here. Like, which Republican was actually programming?
Yeah, Anna is basically saying, let it all out. But you're the only one who's making a carve out for one person, and that's Donald Trump.
There's no evidence that he had any contact with Epstein after he excommunicated him, but we do have evidence that he was programming Democrat members of Congress. Why isn't that a big deal to you guys?
I guess the point is we just don't know.
We do know that. We absolutely know.
We know. What are you talking about? We know that Epstein was your buddy, And even when he was with Trump, Trump was a Democrat. Let's not forget that Trump was actually a Democrat when he was doing all of this stuff with Jeffrey Epstein. When Jeffrey Epstein was appearing in his clubhouse in all of this thing, Trump was actually literally supporting Democrats' candidate. Trump was actually fisting with the Democrats all this while. How that turned to a Republican thing or a conservative thing is what I'm still trying to understand. Trump has always been a Democrat until when he declared that he wanted to seek election on the platform of the Republican Party, which everybody thought was a joke. I mean, now, fast forward, we're here where we are.
Now we're learning that Jeffrey Epstein also was solicited by Democrats, Hakeem Jeffries, the current leader of the Democrats in the House, for campaign donation. So not only was Jeffrey Epstein texting Democrats, coordinating with Democrats and the mainstream liberal media as well too, in order to try to take down Trump, he also was allegedly helping to finance the Democrat Party as well.
Colleagues' coordination with Epstein. Another email shows Democrat fundraisers invited Epstein to an event or to meet privately with Hakeem Jeffries.
Hakeem Jeffries is the #1 Democrat in the United States of America today. By hierarchy, he's the speaker, he's the majority leader. Okay, so he's the #1. No, let me say not #1, #2, because Chuck Schumer is the #1, is the senator, right? So Chuck Schumer is the number one Democrat in the United States of America today. Hakeem Jeffries is the #2. But also in terms of succession and all that, he's actually the #1 in the United States Congress for the Democrats. So this guy apparently was funded by Jeffrey Epstein, and the subject of that email is called Rising Star. You cannot make this stuff up, right? You want to play games, you're going to get it. Again, anything that works for the victim, I'm for it, but it is what it is.
As part of their 2013 effort to win a majority. So Hakeem Jeffries' campaign solicited money from Jeffrey Epstein. That's what we found in the last document batch. The files underscore why former President Trump must appear for his deposition. We've subpoenaed him. To date, the Democrats have done nothing to help us secure his appearance. I support full transparency. The Oversight Committee will continue to work to get the truth to the American people and to get justice for the victims. That's our goal of this investigation. With that, I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. Yeah, Mr. Speaker, we reserve. The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Yeah. So fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. We're not learning what Democrats are going on television and making defamatory statements claiming about the President of the United States. But we are learning that it was actually Democrats who were in bed with Jeffrey Epstein. Again, Hakeem Jeffries here. This is an email that was sent to Epstein where they say, hey, dear Jeffrey, we are thrilled to announce that we are working with Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, one of the rising stars in the New York congressional delegation, sometimes referred to as, quote, Brooklyn's Barack, aka Timo Obama, aka Discount Obama, aka Dollar Store Obama, right? Okay, aka No Swag Obama, aka No Riz Obama. He is a staunch supporter of President Obama and a progressive voice for the people of New York City. Yeah, so they go on to say that if you would like to get involved with the dinner or would like to get an opportunity to get to know Hakeem better, he is an impressive guy and will be a progressive voice in New York politics for years to come.
Yeah, he was. He's now a progressive voice. I mean, he's the number one in the for Democrats in Congress. So Jeffrey Epstein also boosted his campaign against the Republicans. It is what it is.
Really fascinating. The same people who are obsessed with President Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, again, a relationship that I think is very clear that President Trump cut off ties with Epstein when it became clear that, you know, hey, this guy's into some creepy stuff that the president doesn't want to be involved in, right? He cut off ties with Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein hated the president for doing that. Okay,
I'm going to move on.
Did not.
Okay.
I'm not saying I know. It's a legitimate question. Maybe I don't remember the answer. Maybe my extraordinary producers should be able to help me during the commercial break. But from my understanding, the same files that were open or being open now with the 220 pages of documents or whatever it is, with various emails, that could have been done when Biden was in office.
Exactly.
So why didn't you do it? If it's so important now. What were the Democrats doing at that particular moment in time?
It's quite interesting that a sports commentator is now the voice of reason, which, I mean, I'm not saying that it shouldn't be, but it's just interesting that this guy is now sounding more reasonable than a lot of Democrats and maybe some Republicans too, though. Just saying.
How about you do the damn research before you go on the air on an epic rant, Stephen A? Like, I don't understand why black people or other folks with shows don't know how to do research before they open their mouth.
I don't understand why he has to put black people there. I mean, the racism also, even from his own mouth, as a black man, is actually astonishing. Why would you put black people not doing research? Because clearly we've seen white folks, we've seen Latinos, we've seen all of them coming on here, speaking about things that they don't know anything about, doing narratives and all that. But he was just asking a legitimate question. How come we're not fighting doggedly in the years of Biden to release the Epstein file? How come now that Trump is in charge, we want him to release the Epstein files? It's a legitimate question. Now he's saying he should go do research. Okay, what about the research?
What you just heard is misinformation and disinformation.
Okay.
As for why Biden and the Democrats didn't release the criminal case
As for what? Okay, let's see.
Files, Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell, the associate of Jeffrey Epstein, Maxwell's criminal case was still open during the Biden administration. She wasn't convicted until late 2021, and then she appealed her conviction. Generally, it's not a good idea to open your evidence files when a criminal case is ongoing. We also don't know whether the FBI was still investigating other possible suspects who helped Epstein or participated in his crimes. If you are still targeting suspects, you don't want them to know you are zeroing in on them.
No, this is BS. You know why I know this is BS? This is just more of let's cover our face. Okay? Because Maxwell was a co-conspirator with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay? But that actually had nothing to do with this current glamour, because when she was convicted and all of those, why was there no call for the judge? You can actually go to court to tell the judge you want to get stuff released and redact some information that might be vital to the investigation. So you could still have it released in a way that doesn't jeopardize current investigation, not even in the US where they leak stuffs here and there. And you can finger that to the Democrats too. So again, this is not what we're talking about. What I'm talking about is this. How come nothing, not even one line, not even a push for quick justice or quick revelation of who was involved? Okay? So you could have still gone to court and asked for the release in such a way that doesn't jeopardize current investigation. So I don't know what Roland is talking about here.
This is what I keep trying to tell these people who are in media. When you have a mega microphone, you need to be judicious with how you use it. You need to be careful with what you say and how you say it, and you need to have your facts right.
Yeah. Like that time when Roland Martin falsely claimed that DHS AI doctored a video to make it seem like a black teenager threatened ICE when DHS did not AI doctor any video at all, right? Like that type of false claim and misinformation, disinformation.
Okay,
You can argue that, you know, who knows? The assassination attempts against the president, all of the things that Democrats did, the desperation to stop Trump from becoming president. If Biden's DOJ had any smoking gun evidence at all against the president when it came to Epstein, it would have been leaked.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be a formal release. We're talking about a leak. Some Trump deranged individual, and we know a lot of them worked at the DOJ under Biden, right? We all know this. Something would have leaked. But see, what Democrats want you to believe is that, see, well, the reason why we didn't release anything is because we couldn't do it. Technically, there was still, we're talking about military secret files released or for anything to really come out, because a lot of them were in bed with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, for example, the Clinton and Obama economic advisor, Larry Summers, who is now stepping down because he's deeply ashamed by some of the information, the emails that were exchanged in this latest dump of documents. And yeah, I think this is the beginning of a lot of Democrats getting exposed, because I personally believe that when it comes to the release of the files or whatever information that the government has, I think that Democrats are going to get hurt a lot more than Trump. So without further ado,
Okay, let's listen
get into it.
Yep.
Tonight, Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren, a former Harvard professor herself, is calling on the school to cut ties with the former university president and current faculty member Larry Summers. That's because Senator Warren says that Summers cannot be trusted, that's her quote, after new details emerged regarding his close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. All of this revealed in last week's release of Epstein's private emails.
Yeah. Larry Summers definitely cannot be trusted around 18-year-old girls now, right? That's how it's supposed to work, because anybody associated with Epstein, which a lot of Democrats were, right, that means that you're guilty, okay? By default, according to Democrats. So yeah, this guy cannot be working around 18-year-old girls.
Larry Summers served as Bill Clinton's Treasury Secretary, and in Barack Obama's administration, he was the director of the National Economic Council. These new emails revealed comments that Summers made as he also sought out dating advice from Jeffrey Epstein. That includes the morning of March 17th, 2019. Let's see these emails here where Summers and Epstein were exchanging multiple emails debating Summers and whether or not he should send a note to a romantic interest.
Wow.
Epstein argued to Summers that it would be, quote, bad form. Summers wrote back, quote, why bad form? Supposed to be face-to-face? To which Epstein replied, you care very much for this person. You might want to demonstrate that. A note does the very opposite. Now, the reason that exchange...
So again, Jeffrey, while he was known to be a person of a questionable character, was still giving dating advice to a staunch Democrat. A staunch Democrat.
Is notable that we're pointing it out is because of when it happened. It was just 4 months before that exchange that the Miami Herald had published an exhaustive investigation detailing Jeffrey Epstein's abuse of underage girls. They continued to communicate, though, for the next several months. That includes on July 5th, 2019, when Larry Summers sent Jeffrey Epstein an update from his vacation on Cape Cod. The next day, July 6, 2019, is when Jeffrey Epstein was arrested for sex trafficking crimes. Now, tonight, Larry Summers told CNN in a statement that he is going to continue to teach at Harvard, but he will be stepping back from his other public commitments, saying in a statement that he takes full responsibility for the misguided decision to continue communicating with Mr. Epstein.
Okay.
My political sources tonight are Democratic strategist Alencia Johnson and Republican strategist David Urban. And obviously, you know, it's worth noting, Alencia, that Senator Warren and Larry Summers have clashed before in the past over policy issues and whatnot. But her saying, you know, this is someone who is very involved in Democratic politics, was reportedly going to be very involved in them doing a version of Project 2025 for Democrats. She's saying that the school needs to cut ties with him entirely. Do you agree with her?
I absolutely do agree with her, and not just because I worked for her in her presidential primary, but because, as you explained, the timing of this. It's one thing if Larry Summers was communicating with Jeffrey Epstein before the big investigation from the Miami Herald, but it's another, and he said he didn't know about it because there have been instances of that, right? Someone is charged for an egregious crime and people around him don't know anything about it. But this was very public. It was all over our national news.
Everybody knew.
People
I
in
mean, you're
politics
calling
were
yourself
paying
a
attention.
top Democrat stuff. You're also writing on Project 2025 version of for the Democrat. And what that means is this, that there's this Republican template of reforms or ideas that they want to put in place once they win. So that was what was called Project 2025 that Trump was going to implement. So the Democrats are now saying that they also need their own version of the ideological ideals that whoever wins the Democratic race and becomes the president would also implement, just to spite Trump or to counter whatever Trump is currently implementing. So that's that about that. And so this is a top guy. He's also an Harvard guy. I mean, for you to have been an Harvard guy, also lecturing in Harvard, I question what kind of graduate Harvard is actually churning out. And this is not the first time that Harvard has been in the news. We know the president had to step down because she couldn't just condemn act of violence against Jewish students. I mean, it's that crazy. So again, I mean, it is what it is. But this guy said he didn't know. Well, let's take it for that. Let's take that from him and assume he didn't know.
To it and deep diving because of his ties to a lot of political figures. And so it is problematic that he remained in contact with him. And we don't see any evidence of him even acknowledging how wrong Jeffrey Epstein was. And so I agree with Senator Warren, because if we think about his involvement, not only in Democratic politics, he is also a teacher at Harvard. And there are probably young women in his class. And I would be concerned about, whether or not he has the integrity to continue to be in those positions. I'm not going to sit here and say anything's going to happen to his students, but it is concerning that you would be okay with someone who has these accusations and you still continue to be involved in a teaching capacity.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Absolutely hilarious. Right? Absolutely hilarious. They got one of their own before they got Trump.
Not just one of their own before they got Trump. So let's list it. Number one, there is the congressman. I've forgotten her name again. There's a congresswoman. Okay, that was coordinating. I think it's Scarlett, right? That was coordinating with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, that one was censured, but the censure failed. So again, that didn't go through because some Republicans, 6 of them, went with the Democrats. Some voted no, some voted present. Then secondly, Hakeem Jeffries is out there now, has been supported, by this same guy as a rising star. Now, 3 again, Larry Summers, also an Harvard lecturer, a Democrat, staunch Democrat, and a strategist. Okay, 3 of them, and more to come.
Fascinating. All this is about Trump. The only reason they care about this is because of Trump. But before they can get anything on Trump, which I don't think they're going to get anything at all, they got one of their own. The guy that's supposed to be a part of the Democrats' version of Project 2025. I think they call it Project 2029 or something like that, right? They got him, right? They got that guy. One of their thinkers, right? He's now stepping down from public commitments. Okay, so they got him and they got a black woman, right? they got their brains and they got a black woman. Amazing. Good job, Democrats. Good job. So with that being said, the House has voted to release the Epstein files 427-1. Now it's going to the Senate. And President Trump has come out in favor of releasing the files. We're going to see what happens in the Senate if it actually gets past the Senate and gets to his desk.
Friends with Democrats. You look at this Reid Hoffman, you look at Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, they went to his island all the time, and many others, they're all Democrats. All I want for people to recognize the great job that I've done on pricing, on affordability, because we brought prices way down, but they go way lower, on energy, on ending 8 wars and another one coming pretty soon, I believe. We've done a great job. And I hate to see that deflect from the great job we've done. So I'm all for it. We've already given 50,000 pages. You do know that. Unfortunately, like with the Kennedy situation, with the Martin Luther King situation, not to put Jeffrey Epstein in the same category, but no matter what we give, it's never enough. With Kennedy, we gave everything and it wasn't enough. With Martin Luther King, we gave everything and it's never enough. we've already given, I believe the number is 50,000.
Because they're not interested in the truth. They're not interested in the victims. Okay? And because the victims are not popular celebrities, they're not interested. And the only reason the Me Too movement flourished was because it was celebrities that, you know, due to one reason or the other, had their way in the industry, but they paid an heavy price. And now, down the road, they feel so bad about their life and how miserable they become after all of this yacht and this money and this wealth, and then they want to strike back in a way to just, you know, get some grievances out there. Because after that, we're the common people that are still suffering from whatever it is today. But again, it is what it is.
Pages, 50,000 pages. And it's just a Russia hoax as it pertains to the Republicans. Now, I believe that many of the people that some of the people that we mentioned are being looked at very seriously for their relationship to Jeffrey Epstein. But they were with him all the time. I wasn't at all. And we'll see what happens. What I just don't want Epstein to do is detract from the great success of the Republican Party, including the fact that the Democrats are totally blamed for the shutdown. You know, they cost our country hundreds of billions of dollars with that, at a lot of inconvenience. So I'm for I don't. They can do whatever they want. We'll give them everything. Sure, I would. Let the Senate look at it. Let anybody look at it. But don't talk about it too much, because honestly, I don't want to take it away from us. It's really a Democrat problem. The Democrats were Epstein's friends, all of them, and it's a hoax.
Oh, sorry. And Trump was also an Epstein friend when he was a Democrat. And I'm not saying that there were no Republicans in this whole saga. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that when you tilt the scale, it actually skews towards the Democrat. And it's obvious. It's obvious, like, except we want to deceive ourselves. But they think they could score some political, scores with this so-called, release of the Epstein file and all of that. I'm saying the Epstein issue only actually came out fully when Trump was president, and it's coming out again when he is also president.
The whole thing is a hoax, and I don't want to take it away from really the greatness of what the Republican Party has accomplished.
Yeah, so I think that the president is on to something, okay? And what I mean is that when he says it doesn't matter what we release, it's not going to be enough, I think he's 100% spot on. If anything actually gets released, it's not going to be a bombshell. I'm telling you right now. I'm making this prediction right now. Whatever gets released by the government is not going to be the bombshell that people think. I think what's going to get released is probably going to be a bunch of salacious accusations and crazy conversations and stuff it's going to involve some people, right? There's going to be names, but it's not going to be a smoking gun, right? I don't think that they're going to release any smoking gun against people who
so again, that's it. That's what's happening in the United States of America. And we'll see what happens with that one. Let me get back to my base, Nigeria. And then, there's been a lot of stories, a lot of stuff happening right now. I just want to be sure. Okay, how WIKE led talks to PDP's national office. National chairman warns Tinubu of consequences if he doesn't get in. The funny thing, I before we watch this one, the funny thing that happened yesterday when PDP went into the National Assembly and tried to gain entrance into the not National Assembly, to the PDP Secretariat rather, and tried to gain entrance into the PDP Secretariat. The funny thing that happened was the press conference that this guy that I want to listen to now gave right in the middle of all those noise and pandemonium and all that. The guy literally called on Trump to come and save PDP. I've never heard the level of delusion. And then he started saying stuff to the fact of, it's not only Christian genocide that is happening in Nigeria. So you guys now agree that it's actually a Christian genocide or what? Oh, it's not only Christian genocide that is happening in Nigeria. Trump, I'm calling on you today to come. I'm like, we're jokers in this country. Like, how on earth do you even expect that to fly? So Trump, with all the problems happening in the world, should be concerned when Tinubu is even not concerned about what the hell you guys are doing in your PDP. Now, this is the guy, I think this is the national chairman.
Leaders of PDP, I want to thank all of you for your resilience, for your courage, for your resoluteness in this struggle to take over our party, our property, and in doing so, to save democracy. For the past 7 hours, Nigerians are living witnesses to the struggle we've been engaged in.
That's why the music.
Those renegade members of our party that were expelled in our national convention in Ibadan. They came here with armed talks like we did predicted to disrupt our meetings. But God so kind, we were able to contain them effectively. Now we have driven them out of the secretariat, and as you can see, I have entered my office. I have assumed leadership as the elected national.
Okay, so yeah, that's it. That's it, bro.
So this struggle, no doubt, is a continuing one. Yes. We will continue. We will remain relentless. We should continue to fight. But I want to call on the president. If there's anybody that wants peace in any given society, it should be the leadership.
Okay.
The president should call his minister to order. The kind of conduct that the minister of the FCT had gotten himself engaged in this morning, leading to this afternoon, is unbecoming.
Yeah.
How can a serving minister lead talks to come and disrupt a legally arranged meeting? A meeting in respect of more notices has been given to the police and other security agencies. If we had not exercised restraint, if we had not controlled our members and our leaders, there will have been bloodshed here.
Whoa, really?
We would have been tear gassed, and I think more than 50 canisters of tear gas had been shot at us. But we remain relentless.
Okay.
And we will continue to remain relentless. So I call on all members of PDP all over this country to know that this is what is happening. And should this continue, I will not hesitate to call all members of PDP in Nigeria to assemble here. If they are going to kill us, let them kill us.
So this is the governor of Oyo State that walked hand in hand with WIKE to derail the candidate, the presidency aspiration of Atiku. What goes around comes around. That's why in Nigerian politics, you don't take sides. The sides that matter in Nigerian politics is your own side. It's my own side. I don't take side in Nigerian politics because, and the same thing also goes with activism in Nigeria. I'm not saying that people shouldn't be activists all they want. I'm saying, yeah, fine. But at the end of the day, you're not going to get me to Lekki Tollgate to be killed while the person leading the protest tries to fly out to London, tries to get national award, tries to appear on TV, and then you have people that gave their life at the Lekki Tollgate in the name of activism. If you're in Nigeria, my advice to you is don't get dead. Don't just get dead. I'm telling you. So what goes around comes around. An interesting reaction has been trailing what happened yesterday.
I want to call once again on the international community. You've seen what.
Why are you calling on the international community, young man? The international community has nothing to do with whatever the hell is happening in your PDP. This is an internal PDP. In fact, let me put it like this. The president of Nigeria, Tinubu, he shouldn't even be interested in whatever it is you do. Now, I know he's going to be interested because your disarray is to his own advantage. And he might even be also having some people, some machineries that are creating this havoc in the PDP. But that is not his business. Your own business is to keep your own house in order. How do you want to unseat a sitting president that when he wasn't even sitting and with the disastrous results that the APC had, you couldn't even win? And this guy in power right now was not even the one sitting in Aso Rock, rather. I want to say White House, no, Aso Rock. Again, I'm saying that's one. Then secondly, Even when he was running, I'm talking about Tinubu now, for presidency, he had people within the Buhari's gang that were even against him, like the Amechi and some other people. Bukola Saraki, I think then has moved already, I don't even know. But he had a lot of people that was also against him. And he still won anyways. Now, this is what you guys have as opposition. PDP in shambles. LP, we don't even know where that one is. ADC is just still trying to kickstart, and they need someone to push because the battery that is running the ADC just got knocked out yesterday, and the engine is not even able to lift it. And I saw El Rufai, one of the videos saying that we're not gonna put corrupt people in as a candidate in the ADC. And I'm like, the main guy, Atiku has issues against him. What are you talking about, bro? It's that bad. It's that bad. So right now, APC is just running away with it. And I'm sorry, these guys are not equipped. It's coming home to roost. They're not equipped at all. They're not exceptional. They're not smart. They're just politicians. And that's why the whole country is what it is. The reason we are suffering from security issues right now, you can actually drill it down to the PDP and also elements in the APC that were formerly part of the PDP. And that's the craziness right now. That's what we've got. What more can I say? Because I don't understand why you're calling international community. The international community is only interested in Christian genocide right now and your resources.
You've seen what is happening. You've seen the attempts that is now openly being made to destroy and stifle democracy. We will defend democracy.
Okay.
We shall continue to act as the vanguards of democracy.
Oh, really?
And like I've said, we are prepared to lay down our lives for the purpose of watering and nurturing this nascent democracy that our forefathers had fought arduously to give us. I will therefore want to commend the resilience of our members. I want to thank our leaders for refusing to be provoked in spite of the high amount of provocation. This shows that we in PDP were peace-loving people.
Okay.
And will continue to be peace-loving and law-abiding. But that does not mean that if we've seen that people are going to touch us, are going to touch our integrity, are going to touch our lives, that we will not hesitate to take advantage of the constitutional right.
Okay, constitutional right and all of that. Anyways, so you know what freaking happened? So this is the chairman of one faction of PDP. I was just reading through various reactions. And it's crazy. Look at what people are saying. Sorry. Let me just see this. More bookmark. Okay. Okay. Let him out. Who is he? This is not your PDP. Earlier today, the former governor of Benue State, Samuel Ortom, was escorted out of the PDP neck hall while walking in when Governor Seyi Makinde and Governor Bala were addressing the press. So they pursued the guy.
Yeah, now former Governor Ortom.
Size, this is not your PDP.
Chairman, so show you to see this now the supporters of the.
Okay, so the guy was pursued.
Yeah, now former governor.
He was pursued out. Breaking. The WIKE-led faction of PDP has announced the expulsion of the Oyo governor, Seyi Makinde, Bauchi governor, Bala Mohammed, Zamfara governor, Dauda Lawal, and several others. The faction has also dissolved the party leadership structure in Oyo, Bauchi, Ekiti, Zamfara, Edo. Oh my God. And Lagos State. What is happening? I don't even know what's happening anymore. An election is just next week. I mean 2027. Okay. Election is just next week. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. And all of this is going on while the whole country is going to roost. For context, this was WIKE, Seyi Makinde, I don't know if that's Samuel Otham, and that's Fashola. These guys just got, so Seyi Makinde is now the one fighting WIKE. Nigerian politics for you. Don't stand for anybody. Stand for yourself. Stand for yourself. Stand for yourself. And again, it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm going to go back to what's happening because it won't be nice for me not to talk about it. Insecurity situation in Nigeria. This is Kwara State. While having a live service, you had gone blazing terrorists coming to the church to disrupt the service. Sorry for the volume and the sound, but again, it's guns, right? Look at the elderly woman. This woman is not asking for money. She's not asking for political position. She's not asking for even any national cake. There is no benefit being paid to her. She just wants to live in peace. And the Tinubu administration has failed in this regard. I don't want to hear, oh, now there's one foreigner that is trying to instigate the local people, the white man, the French man, China, they're trying to sponsor this thing. Hello, those are excuses. The only person I hold responsible for this is Tinubu. Yeah, you could say that it's been before him, but he's the one responsible for this right now. It's his job. So if he doesn't know what to do, I'm sorry. You are the president, I'm not. So I can drag you and call you out for this nonsense that is happening. You're 2 years plus into your administration, and you don't even have any clue as to how to solve this problem. And I'm not saying it's easy to solve, but I've not seen any solid framework that works. Look at the elderly woman trying to make it out alive. And then 3 people were killed or unalived. You see that? What the hell is happening? Look at the sound. Look at that. Look at that. You see that? Trying to break the door. So apparently it was a robbery incident. See them going with the bags? At this point, I don't know why people are not getting themselves harmed to defend themselves. If you're living in such a condition, your churches, you need people to harm you. I remember the night of crucifixion of Jesus Christ, and he told the disciples, go get sword. Go defend yourself. Go defend yourself. It's the job of every person living in such a community where security is not guaranteed to find an alternative. I mean, we already find an alternative to get our own bottled water. We dig our own well. We try to patch our own road. We supply our own electricity. We supply our own water. Calling on the government to do whatever it is, but they don't care. So you're going to have to actually figure out your security. And your security also better be watertight. That is the reality. This is Kwara State, just next door. In fact, I see Kwara State basically as a southern state, although it is in the north central. This is the reality that we face in Nigeria today. And I'm not mincing word. They had a field day. Nobody was calling 911 because there's nothing like that. Okay? You see them? You see them? These are not, I believe, these won't be Yorubas. You see that? Thank God for the live stream. This is a disgrace. This is a freaking disgrace. But we're gonna fight at PDP headquarters, right? I mean, I can't even shout. You can see them? You can't even serve God again in peace. Wow. And this went on for 5 minutes. The trauma that would forever, I don't even know if anybody's going to go to that church tomorrow. It's getting irritable. It's these are not Yoruba speakers. These are people speaking. This doesn't sound Yoruba. This doesn't sound Yoruba. And most people in Kwara State speak Yoruba. This doesn't sound Yoruba. Yeah, this sounds like a Fulani thing. And also stuff. Oh, now the phone rang. They're going to come pick it up. You see that? Wow. Just wow. Just wow. Just wow. Just wow. I feel so sad. This is the governor, I believe. What happened yesterday at the CSC Eruku in Kwara State is heartbreaking, cruel, and utterly unforgivable. And I'm sure your incompetent guys must have told you. But if you've not, let me tell you, yesterday innocent lives were taken in a place meant for worship, peace, and refuge inside church. Families have been thrown into mourning again. A community has been shattered. And an entire Eruku has been left wounded yet again. So this is not the first time. We've not healed from the one that happened at Okeode less than 2 months ago. I covered this story, the one that happened at Okeode. It's also a Christian community. The guy that was doing the video on a Sunday afternoon showed the church was freaking empty around Sunday afternoon. So some morons will come here and tell me, oh, nobody's targeting one religion. Like, you guys need to borrow a brain. And when they come in, what do they say? They don't say, in the name of Jesus Christ, we pray. When they are killing people, when they are raising their gun, they're not sharing the grace. Less than 2 months ago, I covered that story here. I covered the full documentary that a young man did. He actually sneaked out to do that in the afternoon when everybody had decided the village in Kwara State. In Kwara State, it's just a matter of time before they get to Lagos State, because that's where your gold is, right? That's where your resources is. That's where your security is. That's where you think you're covered. Nothing will happen to your yacht, to your Porsche, to your Lamborghini, right? You must be kidding if you think that that's the case. Because this thing started in the far north that was not even remotely close to the north central. There were issues here and there in Plateau and all of that. But wasn't this crazy? They're now everywhere. We're tired of burying our people. We're tired of these repeated tragedies. We're tired of leaders who watch blood spill on our soil and respond with silence, excuses, or endless promises. I and everyone deeply and wholeheartedly condemn this barbaric killings. No cause, no hunger, no justification. I can defend the taking of a human life, especially in such a sacred place. To the Kwara State government and the federal government, this is your responsibility, 100%. Do not wait, do not pretend, do not issue empty statement. We demand urgent, visible, and honest action. The killers must be found. They must be held accountable. Justice must not only be served, it must be swift and uncompromised. Our hearts are heavy, our voices are trembling, but we will not be silent. The people of Eruku deserve justice. The family deserve answers. Kwara deserves peace. Under you, Abdul Rahman. What is the guy talking? Let me look at his field. The governor. Look at the retarded guy. Hasn't said anything. The guy hasn't said any word on Twitter or X or whatever it is that you call it now. This is October 29th. So where is your latest tweet about what happened yesterday? Our modest effort to improve the condition of our people and deliver political good to the largest majority in Kwara State again came up for recognition as the National Association of Christian Journalists bestowed their Integrity Governor of the Year award on me. So Association of Christian Journalists, NACJ, what have you said about what happened yesterday? Let me see. Because if you are giving him a recognition as the integrity governor, maybe you're concerned about people of the Eruku village and what the hell is happening there. So the Christian Association of Nigeria insists there is Christian genocide in Nigeria. The president of CAN, Archbishop Daniel Oko, made a declaration yesterday in Jos, Plateau State, at the opening of the fourth quarter INEC meeting of the association. Pastor Matthew Ashimolowo questioned religious genocide against Christians in northern Nigeria. People are speaking out right now because when they go to kill, they don't share the grace. They don't say in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. They actually say certain languages, which you know and I know. Integrity Politician of the Year by the Nigerian Association of Christian Journalists. I don't even understand what this is. I don't understand what this is. The Nigerian Association of Christian Journalists should go to the north, look for people, cover stories that really matter. This is nonsense. This award or whatever it's called, it's nonsense. Rome bonds while Nero fiddles. National Association of Christian Journalists. We give an award to the governor of Kwara State. The dude hasn't said anything since yesterday when lives were taken in his state under his leadership. I gotta go. It's just despicable what is happening in Nigeria, my home country. And it is what it is. May God just have mercy. Yeah, thanks a lot. Have a good one. Bye.